Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast in Game 3 in a best or I don't know what the best of. I believe it's actually I'll make the prediction after I watch this game, as I may be watching these games out of order. Anyways, Puma spawning as the red Terran player at the 3 o'clock position. Meanwhile, oGs's MC spawning as the blue Protoss. So Protoss versus Terran here on Metalopolis. Games 1 and Games 2 have been very interesting so far, as pretty much Puma showing why evil geniuses picked them up after the NASL, playing some really solid games. Game 1 was a little bit more all-in-ish with the use of those SCVs, but Game 2, a definite show of force, using Marines, Marauders, and Medivacs with Ghost in order to shut down that High Templar gateway army of his opponent. Meanwhile, supply depot currently being built over here. It looks like a front door will be built, and based upon what I've seen of Puma has a very interesting opening against Protoss, where he does build the barracks here. After a little bit of time, gonna build the barracks over here, but he delays his refinery. So what you're gonna see is, instead of a 13 refinery, perhaps a 14 refinery. And with that, it allows Puma to mine a little bit more minerals, and then it allows him to get a supply depot. Actually, he might be taking the words away from me, or is he going to slow down his SCV production, or is he not going to do that same exact build that I saw him do on Terminus Ray? Anyways, we can see a probe now sneaking its way in. It looks like that probe is just going to get some damage quickly onto that SCV. A second SCV coming back over to try to help out his friend, as Peppy the probe now runs away from Stevie the SCV. Three quick SCVs now jump into that one particular refinery. We should be getting a Marine trained up, and then also upgrading to an orbital command here. This SCV now moving out to scout. The probe pretty much knows that it cannot stick around for very much longer, otherwise it will get shot down. SCV now attempting to build a front door, and it looks like it will be able to. Yes, it will be able to, and this probe is forever stuck inside the base of his opponent until it does get destroyed. However, the probe does have a number of options to hide. It can try to hide in between these areas right here, or just try to juke out this Marine. The Marine is causing a little bit of focus or attention to be drawn away as that probe tries to run away once again. The factory may get spotted, and I don't believe it actually was spotted there. So MC does not know that a factory is currently coming into play. We perhaps should be seeing a refinery come in as well. There we go. So it may be Banshee harassment here on Metalopolis. Very close by air spawns, as this SCV now goes down the ramp in order to return with those minerals that he somehow stole from his Protoss opponent's mineral line. Now, taking a look in the base so far, Puma going into another barracks. Interesting that he's going into another barracks, so it doesn't look like he's going to go into very heavy Banshee harassment. Instead, opting to go for this barracks. Now, we could see perhaps a starport now being added right here, adding on a tech lab in just a moment. Also needs to call down a mule, as he is a little bit behind so far, as we are now seeing Marines fighting back against any of those zealots. We are also going into a Stargate, interestingly enough. So that Stargate also being also in, and now we can see a starport being built up as well. You can see that tech lab now being added, and this is a rather strange and unusual build coming in from Puma, as it's a little bit delayed. That Banshee harassment is probably going to hit sometime around the 6-minute 30-second mark, as opposed to the 7-minute mark, as opposed to the 6-minute 30-second mark. And every second matters, as we are now going to see a Phoenix being chrono boosted out, and a chrono boosted Phoenix will absolutely destroy anything that comes out of the starport, including Vikings. Only thing it doesn't really win in a 1v1 fight, I believe, is a battle cruiser. But then again, not too surprised by that. We are going to have two Phoenixes now in the air. The problem is that we do not see any detection if Banshees are going to be added. There is a supply depot now being built over here as well, and a probe able to sneak its way inside this base and see everything it needs to see. A Raven, however, being added. So it is a Raven first, as we are now going into tanks. This one supply depot is in position, as that Raven now being built, as we are now going into 3 Phoenixes. So very interesting tactic to go into Phoenixes, or to go into a Raven and not go into Banshees. as the Banshee play is perhaps what was going to be expected from his opponent. SCV now going to perhaps make its way up that ramp. MC is only running off of one base so far. Both players running off of one base. We are getting into a Twilight Council now. 4 Phoenixes in the air. Those Phoenixes essentially will be able to graviton beam and shut down some of these SCVs. The key question is he going to find anything at all? These Phoenixes are just on patrol in between these 2 bases, expecting a drop to come in, but I think he's just completely misread his opponent. And a brilliant move, as you can now see. Oh, is it going to be enough? It looks like the Raven was destroyed, so nicely done there. And now the Marines and the Siege Tanks knowing to quickly head back over here, as we are going to perhaps get some Graviton beamed units. No Graviton beam, as the Marines are able to shut down one of those expensive Phoenixes, but trading a Phoenix for a Raven, always a very, very nice trade for a Protoss player. The Phoenix is now still having air superiority, will also be able to graviton beam up siege tanks. So those siege tanks, which are normally a very, very defensive or a very, very difficult units to get around, with as soon as a Phoenix is able to graviton beam it, it just brings it out of commission, and the Marines are now once again pushing back against all of these Phoenixes. Phoenix pilots not really finding any true damage or any true luck in this engagement so far. Siege tech has not been started yet. Puma still has 3 siege tanks without siege mode. 3 siege tanks outside of siege mode. A lot of stalkers, sentries, and zealots at this high ground in central location. MC also has another pylon here to warp in units, so he will be able to lay down the pressure. He has 4 gateways. He has blink. And as long as he's able to micro his stalkers effectively, he should be able to win out in this engagement. Taking a look at the army combinations, yes, both sides are a fairly even 26 to 27 in terms of cost. Food advantage definitely in favor of Puma at this time, as another Nexus now being warped in over here. So a very strange choice by MC in order to warp in and make sure this does not turn into an East versus West battle on Metalopolis at all. The Phoenix is now pushing out once more. The Marines deciding to back off. We are going into a Dark Shrine, as siege tanks are getting that siege tech. There is still 1 Raven in the air, so that Raven is going to be able to deal a lot of damage back and forth, and there's still a lot of Marines over here. The Marines just causing nightmares for a lot of these units there, as we may have an SCV try to walk up that ramp. The Phoenixes are deciding to back off. A proxy pylon also being built over here as well. What is going on? And I believe that Puma is suspecting that a Nexus should be placed down somewhere. He's desperately looking for that Nexus, knowing that his opponent has to have expanded. If he hasn't expanded, then he's not quite sure what to expect. SCV now making its way out, but quickly getting graviton beamed and destroyed. Another SCV coming in over here. Stalkers already lying in wait, ready to destroy that one scouting unit, as now we are going to have Marines, siege tanks, and 1 Raven in the air. And is it going to be enough? There are no Marines now back over here, so it looks like, yes, a couple units are going to get destroyed. And SCV, no, not taken down there. However, this Marine is going to have a very bad day, and another Marine going to have a very bad day there. But I'm not sure if MC is really going to be able to deal as much damage as he would like. These Stalkers do have blink. They are going to be able to retreat rather nicely. There are units down over here as well. Production, more Marines, probes being transferred over here to the high ground natural expansion, as Puma just probably lying and wondering where his opponent has expanded. He knows that an expansion is most likely somewhere. Otherwise, he has to believe that he's very, very far ahead. 93 versus 87. Stalkers now blinking into the main base, and this is going to be an absolute nightmare. Going after some of those main buildings already. For some reason, the orbital command already coming in, and it looks like it's going to become a base trade already. So this is turning into a straight base trade. The Stalkers are desperately trying to retreat already. The Zealots are now trying to come back in as well. What is happening to this one particular orbital command? Already down to 600, 500 hit points. The Phoenixes should really be shooting this down, as it is now down to 300 hit points there. This is looking to be very, very bad. Stalkers are just continuing to wander around, as the main Marines and siege tanks just lining up here. SCVs being transferred over, command center being rebuilt. as this is turning into a very, very strange building already. MC most likely should be starting on perhaps at least a cybernetics core over here. If he does not start at a cybernetics core, oh, now getting a, yeah, there's that gateway, there's the cybernetics core in order to not get reset in terms of any of his builds so far. Stalker is now getting destroyed. Phoenix is going to destroy the starport over here, but the standing army of Puma with those medevacs, very, very powerful, and it looks as though SCVs are going to be coming in as well. Stalker's going to be able to perhaps juke around, get out of here. Will they be able to escape? It looks like they will be able to jump down in just a moment. Shut down this SCV. Oh no, not shutting down this SCV and this command center. That would have been huge. A huge, huge blow dealt to his opponent, but that does not seem to be the case. Puma now attempting to just try to shut down his opponent here, thinking that this is the last building of his opponent, but that is not the case either. As you can now see, Puma sitting on 81 over 24. Meanwhile, MC is sitting on a very, very nice 63 over 66. He will still be able to get even more and more, as now we can see the Marines are coming back once again. And all these SCVs need to start repairing, as this one factory, one barracks, and one starport. So the whole entire tech tree of Puma is still in play. Now, these stalkers need to be very careful. Another SCV going to get destroyed down there. Perhaps we are going to get Void Rays or Colossi would probably be the better choice at this stage. MC desperately needs to figure out what he's going to do, as there are a lot of Marines. The Marines, however, do not have stim. So the Marines do not have stim. That means that the Stalker should be able to, oh yes, jump back up onto the high ground, shutting down, medevacs, almost able to shut it down. And now this command center over here is going to be low on hit points. This is going to be very, very bad news, but the siege tanks are going to be coming in to engage. It looks like that command center now down to 660, and there's that point defense drone. Stalkers attempting to run away once more. SCVs trying to engage, and there is also 2 buildings flying off over here, so that is going to be a definite issue, as the Raven's still up. Yes, that Raven is still up, and that is going to be the problem. Stalkers desperately trying to return home now, as this is turning into a major base race. More gateways now coming in. Chrono boost on the Nexus still possible. He needs to get a strong economy going. What is happening with all of these Stalkers? The Stalkers able to blink away once more, getting more damage onto those units. Stalkers do have some natural shields in order to be able to retreat, and are they going to try to blink up onto the high ground, as they could have turned around and shot down even more of those SCVs once again? So gonna turn around, shut down some of those SCVs, blink back up onto the high ground. Where is it? Where is it? Are they going to be able to make it up to the high ground? That is a key question. And now trying to run away, and yes, they do blink up onto the high ground there, and there's that Guardian Shield. The Raven finally spotting all of this. And now what is going to happen here? The Marines do not have stim. They are not able to charge up the ramp. There are siege tanks down over here. There's one Dark Templar. There's that Raven as well. There's a point defense drone. A sentry could drop a force field down in just a moment. Where is it? There's the force field. Marines are going to be forced to try to medevac or elevator their way back into the space, as another sentry could be pushing in just a moment. The siege tanks are able to start blasting away over here. The Phoenixes need to take down the rest of the buildings, but the buildings are just so spaced out on this map already. The Marines and the Marauders continuing to push in. Stalkers are not able to really catch or engage any of those units. This one command center now going to get burnt to a crisp. Back over here, where are the rest of those buildings is the key question, as all of these buildings are going to get destroyed now. Puma with a much larger army, and also with these medevacs able to stay alive, continuing this push. The command center does get taken down. Now going after perhaps this factory. The factory down is over here, and yes, it will spot this factory here. This factory will get destroyed as well. There is one pylon here, and that is essentially all the buildings that are left, as the Zealots, Stalkers, Sentries, Marines, and Marauders are still trying to go at it, and both sides are revealed right now. So this is a crazy base race, as it looks like this one factory is going to get destroyed. The Stalkers are trying to push in against this barracks. The barracks, however, it looks like it will be able to get under the cover fire of that one siege tank. Not going to be able to retreat at all. The siege tanks, the Stalkers unable to blink up onto that high ground, and that is the issue there, as the Marines are now going to continue that push. These Phoenixes now going to go after this one starport hiding off in the top left-hand side of the map, as it is revealed. And there's also still that point defense drone. So that point defense drone in the air and still causing lots and lots of problems. Now, one barracks at 150 minerals versus one pylon at 100 minerals. Who will win out in this battle? As this one is it going to be enough as the stalkers? Oh no, we're going to have a slow push. The Raven is still there, and oh, one medevac does get shot down. So that was a very, very nice timely push there. The medevacs, the stalkers perhaps could. Oh no, they need to back off. They really need to try to salvage this game if there's going to be any hope at all. There is now the barracks going to be landing once more. The stalkers got to be very, very careful, and this one pylon is going to get focused down rather quickly, and I believe that is going to be GG. MC is not going to be able to do all too much. The stalkers are now going after the barracks. The barracks is taking a lot of damage, but I believe the stalkers are going to get melted apart too quickly, and the units are not going to be able to shut it down, and there's the GG. So oGs MC losing to Evil Genius's Puma in a very, very close matchup here. Excuse me, here on Metalopolis, losing 3 games straight in this best of 3 series. But even though he did lose 3-0, this game was much, much closer than it would appear. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.